Welcome. We open up our Media Day coverage here for the University of Colorado men's basketball team here at the Sioux Event Center. I'm voice of the boss, Mark Johnson. This guy needs no introduction. McKinley, Wright, point guard for the Buffaloes. You know, when something like this hits, now it kind of feels real. I mean, now we're really getting close to the season, aren't we?
Yeah, super exciting. We're ready to go. We've been, working hard every day. Season's almost here, so we're excited.
A couple of weeks of practice. Can you give us an assessment of what you're seeing from this team?
We want to win big. Obviously, that's our goal, to win big. But, this year we're going to hang our hat on defense. So, we're going to try to do the best we can do in guarding and, having each other's back and making sacrifices for each other.
You had such a great freshman campaign here at the University of Colorado. What did you learn that then you alter or change or adapt going into your sophomore season?
Just how to become a better leader. I met with Coach Boyle, and he challenged me to become a better leader. Told me he's going to coach me harder this year. So, I'm looking forward to it. Just trying to lead these guys from the start and practice every day because this is where it really starts. We got to have carryover from practice to the game. So, if we're being lazy in practice, that carries over to the game. So, just trying to help lead these guys.
How about from a physical standpoint? Was there an area you said, boy, I've got to get better, I got to get stronger, got to get quicker, whatever that might be?
Yeah, I think I was strong last year, but there was a couple times, where I got knocked around. So, I kind of went up to Steve after one of our games last year and told him I want to gain some weight. So now Steve has me at 194. And I'm going to try to play at 194 throughout the whole season.
It's obviously distributed very well because it's not like where my weight's distributed.
Yeah. I'm just trying to stay a little cut.
No, see, that's where you're supposed to say, no, Mark, you look fantastic. Hey, off-season, you've got some great alums you can tap into. Chauncey, Spence, guys that have played this position. I know you've talked a little bit with them. What's the best piece of advice or opportunity you had to sit down with one of those kind of guys and get a little word of wisdom?
It was great to, sit down and talk with both of them. Obviously, they both left their legacy here. Chauncey and Spence, both great point guards. Spence wearing my 25, so I'm just trying to follow those guys' footsteps and, try to win how they did and, try to just be another great point guard like they were. And, they kind of gave me some advice. Just make sure I stay in the gym working on my game. So I've been doing a great job of that. Every morning before practice, I'm here 45 minutes early getting up shots and working on floaters and, all that good stuff. So I kind of took their advice and ran with it. We had a lot of deep conversations, so I appreciate those guys, helping me out from a standpoint where, I didn't see the game how they did. So they were great mentors for me.
Did you just say that Spence wore your 25?
Yeah, it's my 25 now. Spence had his time with it. It's my 25 now.
They always say, the law, 90% of the law is having possession of it. So I guess that'd be true. Let's have a great season.
No doubt.
All right, that's point guard McKinley Wright. Right now, Tad Boyle, in fact, is stepping to the podium for his comments here in the media room. Let's send it in there.
I'd just like to say that I'm so excited for this upcoming basketball season. This team this year is going to be a lot of fun to watch for our fans. It's going to be a team I think you're going to see grow and develop as the season progresses. 9 of our 13 scholarship players are freshmen or sophomores, so we're still young, but we have a fair amount of experience coming back. And got 4 new players, 3 new walk-ons. But it is a team that, as I come to the gym, come to the arena every day, I really look forward to working with. They're a terrific group of young men. So with that, I do have one piece of news that I'm going to share with you. But we lost Dallas Walton yesterday to an ACL in practice. He went down, and unfortunately we got the news confirmed in the afternoon. But so we will not have him or his services this week, or this year, excuse me. And my heart goes out to him and his family. Obviously, he's worked so hard to come back from two previous ACLs in high school and had such a promising freshman year. We're expecting great things. But I just want to, let people know that this is not the end of the road for him by any means. I mean, he's going to come back stronger than he was before, and in the big picture of things, it could be a good thing for him and for our program. But in the short run, it's difficult. It's no fun, and I just feel sick to my stomach for him, for how hard he's worked and what we had in front of him this year. But we'll just delay it a year, and everybody else will have to step up, and we become a little bit thinner up front, but we still have enough bodies to be successful. And again, I think it should be a great year to be a Colorado Buffalo.
Coach, with Dallas, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's my understanding it's his right knee, which is the opposite of what he hurt in high school.
Yes.
But also the same leg where he had the toe surgery earlier this year that you talked about a couple weeks ago. You talked about how he was unable to get in the weight room as much this summer. I know you're not a doctor, but is there any fear that this not being able to get in the weight room and do that lower body kind of workouts over the off season in any way contributed to this?
We'll never know that, Pat. I wish I knew the answer to that. I'm not a doctor. I'm not, we don't, well, that's a question that I don't think there's an answer to, or that we would, I think it would be pure conjecture for me to say something like that. But yeah, you never know. I do think the off season for every one of our players, or any college basketball player, is critically important in the weight room and to get stronger. And, Dallas's upper body strength was probably ahead of his lower body strength. And so, again, this injury is going to allow him, with the rehab, and the one thing Dallas knows, because he's been through it before, he knows what the rehab is going to be like. And it's going to allow him to rehabilitate his lower body over the next, 9 months before he gets back. And from everything, people have told me is when young men come back from ACL surgery, their knees are sometimes stronger and more stable than they were even before the injury. So, again, I'm looking at this as a positive thing as best I can. Again, for this season and this year, it's not a positive thing for our team or for Dallas, but he'll get through it, we'll get through it, and we'll get through it together.
You've talked about being kind of pleased with your front court depth going into the season. What does this do as far as the responsibility of guys like Evan and Lucas, maybe even Jacob Dombeck on the backside of that rotation?
Well, it puts us one man down, and we're not as deep as we once were, and we certainly can't afford another injury to our front line significantly. But we'll see. We'll see how Jacob comes along. I think the other person is Alex Strading. He's played very, very well for us in the first 11 practices that we've had. So we know Tyler is capable of playing on the front line. We know Lucas is capable. We know Evan is capable, even though he hasn't played. Alex is showing signs, and Jacob keeps getting better and better too.
Seem like 9 years?
9 years? No, it does not seem like 9 years. It's I'm as excited as I was year one. I really am, and I think that's I always say, if you're not excited this time of year, you should get out of coaching. It's time to hang it up. But I'm not even close to being there. I'm really excited, and it does not seem like year 9. But it's I do have to pinch myself every day I come to work, because to be the head coach at the University of Colorado, I never take it for granted. I never, I certainly don't have a sense of entitlement or I belong. I mean, I want to continue to push this program to new heights, and I think this year's team has a hunger and a chip on their shoulder that hopefully we can display as this season unfolds, and we can do some special things.
Hey, Coach, how does Lucas's role increase as a result of the injury to Dallas?
Lucas's role becomes really paramount. It was going to be big before, and I think, with Lucas Seward, you saw, I think, the second half of the season last year, you really saw him come into his own and start developing. He's shooting the ball with unbelievable confidence. He shot 44% from 3 last year. Every time he shoots it, I think it's going in. He's really improved his low block game. He's getting better defensively. His body is he looks like a legitimate Division I front court player now. And so, yeah, Lucas, I think, again, much like Torrey's injury last year kind of opened the door for Dallas, I think Dallas's injury this year is certainly going to open the door for Lucas and Evan to get more significant minutes.
Coach, what ways do you expect this team to be improved over last year?
I expect us to take care of the ball better. I expect for our turnover numbers to go down. I expect us to continue to become a better defensive team. And I think right now guarding the ball and guarding the three-point line is something that we have to get better at. But I think we can show major improvements defensively. We can show hopefully major improvements in terms of taking care of the ball better and not turning it over as much. I think if we do those things offensively, we have some weapons. I mean, Shaden Gatling is really he shoots the ball extremely well from three. Deshaun Schwartz, we know, is a good shooter. Wright is a good shooter. We've got some guys that can put the ball in the hole. Our two freshman guards have shown really some significant, flashes that I think they're going to both hopefully be able to help us as well this year. So I like the balance of this team, and I like the ability for us to score inside and outside. And obviously we've got, McKinley Wright, who's a proven point guard, who's kind of makes everything happen.
Yeah, McKinley, you don't have to motivate with his personality.
No.
How he drives himself. I know it's early, but where have you seen his game evolve, whether it's leadership or physically, or what have you seen so far?
Well, McKinley's a terrific leader, Mark, as you know. I mean, he's a guy that it just comes innately to him. People, whether it's media, whether it's teammates, whether it's coaches, whether it's opponents, they're drawn to McKinley Wright. He has a sense, he's like a magnet, and people like him. They like being around him. And so that comes naturally to McKinley. The two areas that he really spent a lot of time in the offseason is shooting the basketball from the perimeter and really improving his three-point shooting ability, his mid-range game, but shooting. And then the other part is, again, limiting those turnovers. He had a respectable assist-to-turnover ratio for a freshman point guard, but I believe McKinley Wright can be an elite-level point guard, and for him to do that assist-to-turnover ratio needs to get to 2-to-1, 3-to-1, maybe even 4-to-1, and to do that, he's got to cut down his turnovers. So turnovers and shooting the basketball from the perimeter, he's got the rest of the package, so to speak. He gains strength, but we're going to need McKinley to again, motivate his teammates. His teams usually come up on the winning end in practice, and I want that to translate to the games now.
He said that you got him together with Chauncey, or helped get him together with Chauncey this summer. How do you think that might help his game?
Well, hopefully, look, Chauncey Billups is such a knowledgeable guy, and we know Chauncey's career, and it speaks for itself. And but my thing is I just wanted them to develop a relationship where, Chauncey could help him. And, McKinley, I know, is open to that. The thing I love about McKinley Wright is he's really coachable. And so I think, Chauncey, any words of wisdom or advice he can give him, I think can only benefit McKinley. And that's really the culture that we want to build within Colorado basketball. And I think we've really made some strides there, is to connect the former players, whether it's Chauncey or whoever, Marcus Hall or Dwight Thorne or who you name it, those former players coming back and building relationships with our current players. We've really made significant attempts to make that happen. And for him to be in the gym with Chauncey and to learn from a guy like that could do nothing but benefit him.
Is this a team that you could go, even with Dallas being gone, you can go a big lineup and play some big guys up front, or go a three-guard? Is there a lot of different rotation possibilities?
There definitely are. Yeah, we're going to be able to play small. We're going to be able to play big. Obviously, we can't play as big without Dallas as we could with Dallas. We don't have a 7-footer now, so it limits us that way. But I still think with Lucas and Evan in there and Tyler, kind of a 3-post rotation, you can play big. But the beauty of Tyler Bay and really Evan and Lucas and Alex Strading, I'll throw him in there, Jacob Dombeck, whoever, our post guys are now very versatile, and we'll be able to play big lineups and small lineups, just not maybe as big a lineup as we could have when we had Dallas's services available to us.
It would be fun as a coaching staff to try and figure out every night, depending on who you're playing, how do you do that? Yeah,
absolutely. And and we know in the preseason or the non-conference portion of our schedule, many times you play against maybe some of these smaller schools or smaller programs, and they don't have the plethora of big guys. So playing small is certainly an option against those opponents. Then once you get into league play, the size gets a little bigger, a little stronger, and you got to be able to play bigger once Pac-12 play rolls around. But if you can figure out how to guard and rebound with a small lineup, even when you get into conference play, now opponents have to adjust to you. You don't have to necessarily adjust to them, and that's we'll see how that plays out as the season goes.
How do you perceive the Pac-12 to be this year, Ted?
Drew, I think the Pac-12 is got a lot of good teams. We know there's a lot of talent coming back. We know there's a lot of talent coming in. I don't know if there's a clear-cut favorite like there has been in years past. I mean, Oregon certainly recruited very well. UCLA did it, recruited well and had some players sitting out. They're coming back. Arizona State had some guys sitting out. USC is going to be talented. I think we've got a lot of good teams. I don't know if we have that preseason top 10 program right now, but I think as you see the non-conference play its way out and certainly getting into conference play, you can see a team kind of emerge. Last year was Arizona State. You know, nobody was even talking about Arizona State this time last year. They go 12-0 non-league, and then they end up making the NCAA tournament. They struggled a little bit in league play, but had tremendous non-conference schedule, and that's what we need multiple teams to do this year. And if we do, we'll play ourselves into that national talk, if you will. But right now, I think we've got a lot of good teams. I don't know if we have a great team, at least on paper, but I think a great team from our league or two or maybe three can emerge. And we got a lot of solid ones.
Coach, you have a number of guys trying to make that, the freshman and sophomore jump, which
Yes.
is typically a year of big growth. Where does Tyler Bay fit in that? He's someone that showed flashes of huge potential last year, and obviously a year in the weight room. What do you expect out of him this year?
Tyler's the guy that has worked extremely hard on his game, and I mentioned it, I think earlier. He's had as good of an off season, and I'm talking about the spring and the summer, as any player I've coached in 25 years. He's really made great strides. Physically, he's gotten stronger in the weight room. And one thing we know about Tyler is he's extremely athletic. He can make plays just physically that other players can't make. And so what I want to see him make is that jump from a mental standpoint, of consistency and focus on the floor and being an everyday, every possession type player. But we know he's got flashes of brilliance as a freshman. Now it's can he make that a consistent thing as a sophomore, and that's going to be the challenge for him. But he's capable of it because physically he's as gifted a guy as we have on our team.
Just been to a couple of your practices, but it seems to be as competitive just day in, day out. I mean, not mean to each other, but they're getting on an edge.
There's an edge in our practice. There's no doubt. And Coach English, one of our assistant coaches, has a saying that I think our players really appreciate, and I know I do, but iron sharpens iron. And if you bring that mentality, that workman-like mentality, that competitive spirit to the gym every day, to practice every day, you're going to make yourself better, but you're also going to make your teammates better. And I think two guys, McKinley, Wright, and Evan Batty, they bring it every day. They are competing with their teammates. They feed off of that, and they're not the only two that have done it, but they're probably the most consistent guys day in and day out of bringing that fight to the floor, because you have to have that for us to get better in practice. We have to have that, and we have it. We've had it so far.
Tad, with the health scare Evan had, obviously you knew him before. How has he progressed with that? Has he talked about it? And how different is he?
Evan's health scare, I think was a shock to all of us. Him, his family, his teammates, his coaches. How he's handled it has been unbelievable. I mean, I've never been around a young man that's been as positive and as outgoing. And the thing I really appreciate about Evan, he's so open about it. He's not trying to hide it. He's also not using it as a crutch or as an excuse. He comes to work every day. He's gotten extra conditioning in with Steve Engelhardt, our strength and conditioning coach. He is open about talking about it, but he's just going to continue to get better. His speech is better. His hand-eye coordination on the court is better. I think the only thing that's changed about Evan is he probably has more of an appreciation for his health and his ability to play college basketball now than he had before. And we knew he was going to have it this year because he had to sit out the last 2 years. But when you had to sit out the last 2 years and then you put on top of it his health issues, he's really, really appreciative of the opportunity. And he's not afraid to talk about it.
A little rust on him?
There might be a little rust early, yeah. I mean, we've seen it in practice in terms of finishing around the rim, and some of it's conditioning, some of it's rust. But, yeah, there may be a little bit of that some early. But that's what practice is for. And then, you know, he did have a chance to go to Italy this summer and playing 4 games. But, yeah, he's not going to I mean, we'll see how he comes out of the chute. But the one thing about Evan, he's going to be fun to watch. He's fun to coach, and he's fun to play with.
Back to Lucas, what do you hope to see from him on the court?
What I want to see from Lucas on the court is just a commitment to rebounding the ball. I know he can shoot the ball, and every time Lucas is open, I want him shooting it. But a commitment to rebounding, a commitment to being a great post defender, and when we do set some ball screens with Lucas and they switch, because he'll be playing the 4 some as well as the 5, but when he's at the 4, if they switch, he's got to be able to roll and punish people inside, you know, on the block as well. So he's shown that ability in practice, and now it's just got to translate to the games and be a consistent thing in the games. But Lucas is, you know, if you look at this team and you say, okay, give me 1 or 2 X factors, Lucas Seaward is an X factor for us, because I think if he can make that jump from underclassmen to upperclassmen, you know, Pat mentioned the jump from a freshman to a sophomore. That's a big jump, but you can also make a jump from an underclassman to an upperclassman, and that's where Lucas and Dell are. And we need that jump to be made by both of them.
If it's too early for the start of the season today, who would be your starting lineup?
I don't know the answer to that. McKinley Wright will be our point guard. That much I know. And beyond that, I'm not 100% sure. I still think that's something that we'll figure out between now and November the 13th. You know, we have a scrimmage coming up this weekend. We'll have an open scrimmage, black-gold scrimmage before the Oregon State game. But that'll be Buffs against Buffs, so everybody will get a chance to play in that one. But I don't know the answer other than McKinley at the point. I think there's some spots that are still up for grabs.
Coach, we saw your team play zone defense more frequently last year than is typical for your teams, and you had some success with it.
Yeah.
Will we see more of that this year, or with these guys being a year older?
We'll see some zone. Yeah, we will absolutely. We will play some zone this year. How much, I don't know. As much as last year, I don't know. More than last year, I don't know. I don't think you're going to see us play us more than last year, but we'll play some zone this year, and we need to be active in it. We need to be able to rebound out of it, and you know, losing George King on the perimeter, who's a big, tall wing who can rebound the ball and play shots. You know, we're gonna have to replace that, but we will play some zone.
Did last year's experience having some success with it maybe soften your stance on utilizing it a little bit more?
Soften my stance on utilizing. Hasn't softened my stance on how I feel about it, but I'll use it.
A couple more questions we have time for in this here.
Shane Gatling,
Yep.
You've had some very good shooters here, but I'm thinking about one of those guys that is just a knockdown. When it's coming out of his hand, you write in the book. Is he one of those guys?
He's a guy more often than when he shoots it, you think it's going in. Absolutely. Now, he has not proven that in games yet. I think when I think of knockdown shooters at Colorado, since I've been here, I think of guys like Levi Knutson, Askia Booker to some degree. Askia was a little bit streakier, but Levi was as consistent of a shooter as we had. I see Shane Gatlin being able to become one of those guys. He's got to prove it in the game. You know, there's practice shooters and there's game shooters. And he's proven he can make shots in games. But at this level, you know, the athletes are a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, a little bit faster closing out. And then I think Deshaun Schwartz can become that guy too, that knockdown shooter. When he's open, you feel like it's going in. So we've got some guys that can. And Dalen Kuntz has really shot the ball well too as a freshman.
Shane hasn't. He's a JUCO transfer, but you don't normally pull a lot of those. What made him special that you wanted to bring him here?
Well, we were losing Dominique Collier, and we were losing George King, and so two of our best three-point shooters from last year. And so we needed a guy that could shoot it. So that was number one. And then the fact that he could play a little bit of point guard and be a kind of a combo guy but could really make shots is what elevated him to the top of our list recruiting-wise, because he's had the ability to make shots but also maybe spell McKinley at the point some. Not that he's the only one. I mean, Dell can do it, and hopefully one of those freshmen can do it as well. But his ability to make shots was key.
Time for one more question.
Coach,
Yeah.
you started for freshmen at times last year. How do you see that as helping with this year's team?
Well, the freshmen, look, the freshmen that started and got some time and got some minutes last year, and that's why I'm sick about Dallas, because he was one of those guys that really could benefit from that experience. But, you know, having the experience that when they step on the floor, the bright lights, the, you know, league play, conference tournament, you know, they've experienced all that before. There's no teacher, there's no coach, nothing in life can teach you better than experience can. And so have they used those experiences to their benefit? If that's the case, they'll be better because of it. If they don't, they'll be the same players. And we don't want that. But they've all had great off seasons, and hopefully they can make tremendous strides for us this year.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Women's basketball coach JR Payne will be starting promptly at 11:50. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.